You for still being here with us on TV Sapiencia. My name is Omar. You're very sweetheart on radio, TV, and social media. And every time you see us by this time of the day, just know we're here to talk about love, relationships, how to make it work. So we try as much as possible to be so relaxed so we can have this amazing conversation. Welcome to Love and Marriage here on TV Sapiencia. And I can't be on this program alone because love, you can't love alone. You definitely need to love someone. Fresh, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Glad to be here with you.
Yeah,
how's your day today?
My day was awesome, actually.
Right,
nice.
right. So what's up? How are you doing? How are you navigating Nigeria? Dollar, as of today, dollar is 1,100 and something naira. But the challenge is that it's not reflecting in the market yet.
Yeah, it will definitely take a while, you know, because so many people bought things at different rates. So it's going to take a while, and of course, a lot of businessmen are waiting as well to know whether
it will increase again. Hopefully, hopefully it will not increase again.
You know, a lot of people are celebrating, but celebrating the fact that dollar is
1,100 and something naira.
1,115
naira. Thereabouts.
115 naira. You know, it's just like a child who lost 200 naira, and while crying, somebody now gave you 50 naira, and you start celebrating.
Oh my goodness. But you know, in the midst of all this whole inflation, the challenges of the economy, I think it's actually taking its toll on some families. And it comes to what we are talking about today, what we'll talk about today on the program, you know, interference of in-laws, mother-in-law, father-in-law. We've talked about it before, but there is need, you know, there's always constant need to keep addressing these issues.
Okay.
How far is too far? How should in-laws interfere, especially mother-in-laws and father-in-laws? How far should they interfere in the marriage of their son, the marriage of their daughter? Should they even interfere at all? And should it be so obvious that they are interfering? But first of all, let's start with why should they interfere? Why should in-laws interfere in marriages?
Well, the fact is that Bible is our guide, you know, because we are Christians, and everything we know about marriage, basically, we learned most of them from Christian perspective. You know, the Bible says that a man shall leave his parents. That word leave is very important. And then the Bible says the man shall cleave to his wife. So you now have leave, you have cleave. And finally the Bible says that the both of them shall become one. So you now have leave, cleave, and one. That's to say the man is going to leave, then cleave, and then become one. You know, leaving parents does not mean parents, you are going to abandon your parents. But leaving them has both physical, emotional, and to some extent spiritual departure. Now, the physical means that it is advisable that you get your own apartment, even if it means one-room apartment. But this is where you want to grow.
Start your life.
You know, grow because it's a new beginning.
Yeah.
So you are leaving to start a new beginning with another individual from another background, in which if you had to bring the person into your family, the person may not really work with your family because this is a different person altogether. But if you're bringing your own background and the person is bringing her own background, for the two of you to start a family, the both of you will understand it that you have two different backgrounds, but because you are married, you are trying to now build something, you know. But as things, especially economy, may have it, we now discover that a lot of people cannot do without their children, most parents, because of the nature of the country where we come from. If it's America, if you are old, government takes care of you. If it's America, if you are sick, if your children, if they are not there for you, government to be there for you, you have lots of health insurance, you know. If it's America, you don't have accommodation, government may provide accommodation for you. But here, if your parents are sick and you don't take care of them, they will die. Nobody will take care of them. If your parents cannot afford accommodation, you can definitely, if you have conscience, you will not be comfortable living in a good accommodation while your parents are outside. So you have to accommodate them. If your parents are sick, even if it means you selling everything you have, you know, starving even your own family to take care of your parents, you go extra miles to do that. But it's not like that in other countries. That's why sometimes I tell people that the environment where you are has a lot to do with how you show love, has a lot to do with what love is. You know, the love in America is not the same here because of the environment that we'll find ourselves. So now parent interference may be good when that interference does not affect the marriage. But when parents start interfering to an extent that it's not affecting the marriage, that is what Bible condemned and totally not allowed. Now that your mother or your father is staying in the same building with you, in the same apartment with you, does not mean that they are interfering in your marriage. Physically, they may be there. They may be depending on you to, you know, for their good health. They may be depending on you to eat food, depending on you for so many things. But that does not necessarily mean that they are interfering in your marriage. There are even parents who may not be living with you physically, but they're actually interfering in your marriage. There may be in America while you and your wife are here, but just phone call away, they can decide a lot of things in your marriage. That is on interference. But sometimes a lot of people think that interference is when you allow your parents come stay with you and they are now interfering with the activities of the home that either you or your husband or you or your wife does not approve of it, does not like it, or is affecting you one way or the other. But that's not what interference is just all about. There must not be physical, the parent being physical present. There are those that they are physical present and then that physical presence is actually interfering in the marriage. And sometimes there are people also that maybe some may tell you that you didn't discuss with them from the beginning that you're going to bring your parents. Some may tell you that they cannot marry you if your parent is going to come stay with you. You know, they have heard people say things like that. There are some that they don't ever agree for parents of either party to stay.
You know, let me share a story of someone that I know. You know, when she put to bed, right? In her words, she said that a lot of persons told her that her mother-in-law should not come for Omugo. That if her mother-in-law comes for Omugo, that there's going to be a problem. That's what she said. And eventually, when the mother-in-law came for Omugo, there was a problem. Because in her words, too, she will always say that whenever she goes to work and comes back, that the mother-in-law will expect her to start cooking. These things are in different ways. According to her, when her own mom was around for the Omugo, her own mom does the cooking. In fact, make sure that she has food before she's back. Now, the mom-in-law now came to replace the mom, and the mom-in-law now expects her to come back from work and still cook. And sometimes she said if she cooks, they will say they don't like that particular meal, that they want another meal, you know. And she kept going through this. At a point, it became a problem. They are now having serious family issues right now. And she always say that before her mom-in-law came for Omugo, that a lot of persons told her not to allow her mom-in-law come for Omugo, that it was going to be a problem. Now, you know, there are situations where the father-in-law and the mother-in-law, they could be incapacitated, meaning that at some point they could not be feeling well, they could be sick, and they will need, maybe they will need to stay with the first son or to stay with the daughter so that they can take care of them and all that. That's another case altogether. Now, when we're talking about interference, we are talking about control, exercising control. A situation where even from their home, even from the home of the father-in-law or the mother-in-law, they are telling the son or they are telling the daughter what to do. And the daughter will now come home and start implementing what her family told her in her own home. You know, we should have a difference. I mean, there should be a clear-cut difference. Interference, control. For example, freshman, right now, if you have an issue, maybe you have a challenge, you want to discuss it with your brother or your sister or any of your family members, especially maybe your mom or your dad, you can as well tell them and they will advise you on what to do. Now, that advice is one. Now, coming home to come and insist that it is that advice that they gave you that will stand in your family, I think that is where the problem lies. Because to a large extent, yes, your family members, your mom or your dad, because they have a superior experience, they can actually suggest, you know, or tell you, why don't you see it from this angle? Why don't you see it from that angle? Now it's now left, I just feel, it's now left for the man, when you come home, you sit down with your wife. You don't necessarily need to tell your wife that it was the idea of your parents. You don't even need to tell your wife that the idea is coming from your family. Because I've come to realize that there are certain women, certain men, once you tell them the idea is from my family, they become defensive. Okay, you're now going to your family to discuss me. You're now going to your family and your family will now tell you what to do. You now come back and you want me to implement it, because in fact, for the mere fact that you told them the idea is from your family, they are going to say no, that they will never run with that idea. So let's look at a marriage. If you're getting married to somebody, you're not just getting married to that person. You also, by extension, you're related to the family members. A man getting married to a woman getting married to a man is the same thing. You're related to the family members. And in one way or the other, there will be advice. There will be sometimes you want to do something, you seek advice, you seek counsel from your father, you seek counsel from your mom, you seek counsel from your sisters, from your brothers. Is it necessary to still go to your wife or go to your husband and when you're discussing, you now say, it's my mother that said this, my father said this, my sister said this, my brother said that?
Well, before we come to that, let me quickly say something, especially concerning the story you told about a lady who's having issues with the mother-in-law at the moment, having family issues. Now, the truth of this matter is that lots of people, even before going into marriage, they already have problems with their in-law, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law. Some people already prepare, you know, they have not even seen the person they are. In fact, they haven't, in some cases, they haven't even
met the person. They're envisaging.
You understand? But they're already
they're aspiring.
The mother-in-law is prepared for war.
The daughter-in-law is prepared for war.
Now, you see that lady, before the mother-in-law comes, people have already planted the seed of war, that there is going to be trouble, and she already has it in mind that there's definitely going to be trouble. And probably you never can tell who talked to the mother-in-law that, look, if you are not smart, if you don't show strength, if you don't show energy, if you don't show wisdom, this one will intimidate you. And if she is able to intimidate you, she will intimidate your son. You know, that kind of a thing. So the woman is coming prepared for war. The lady is waiting. The lady is also waiting for her, you know, prepared for war. So don't you think there will be war when the both people, nobody is coming with peace, nobody is preparing for peace, everybody is prepared, thinking that this person is bringing war. At the end of the day, war comes. Now, let's look at the history of marriage. Now, the Bible says that Adam was asleep and God took a leap from him and then created Eve. He woke up and saw her and called her woman. A woman originally is from the family of her husband. A woman, because that's where her leap is. So originally she's from that family. For instance, if you're from Anambra State and you're married to a man from Abia State, originally you are supposed to born in Abia State. You are from Abia State. Now, if it's possible for married people, if you're going into marriage, first and foremost, you have to accept your mother-in-law as your mother. And
but is it ever possible? Because I've seen a lot of people, to them their mother-in-law is my husband's mother.
Yeah,
their own mom is my mom.
That is the concept many people are using.
A lot of persons.
I've as well as seen people who even love their mother-in-laws more than their mother.
Yes.
I've seen people like that.
Yes.
I've also seen mother-in-laws that love their daughter-in-laws more than
their own children. Yeah.
You know, but then if every young woman can have that mentality, that mindset, that look, this is transfer of biological mother to another biological mother.
And again, vice versa.
Yeah, definitely.
The mother-in-law seeing the daughter-in-law as her own daughter.
Yeah, but then
not as that woman.
But then let me tell you something. You see, what makes love work is that you don't care much about how this other person loves you. Your interest is to love to the highest. Of course, it's natural that one wants to be loved.
I mean, who doesn't want to be loved?
You understand? But the most important thing is that you're not measuring the love, the other person's love. You're measuring your love. You want to get to the peak. So the question here is, sometimes love conquers even the negative. You're loving someone and that person is not reciprocating. Most times, those people that get tired even before you. Now, for instance, the lady you talked about, if it's her mother, would she had gotten offended that the mother doesn't cook? These are the questions she needs to look at. The same way she reacted because the mother-in-law didn't cook.
Because the mother-in-law was asking her to cook.
Yes. Supposing her mother, her biological mother, was in that shoe, the same way she reacted, do you think it would have been the same way she's going to react to? This is what she needs to assess. Number two is the mother-in-law herself, the mother-in-law her own case, assuming that this lady is actually her daughter and she had to go to work and come back and start cooking. Supposing it's her daughter, would she have allowed her to go to work and still come back and start cooking, to the extent that even after she had finished cooking, she still rejects the food and opts for another kind of food? You now discover that the both of them, they are just creating unnecessary enmity. The mother-in-law wouldn't have done that to her own daughter, and she wouldn't have even disrespected her mother. She would have accepted it. After all, it's her mother. She may have accepted something much more than that, even from her mother. But because she already have that mentality, that mindset that it's not my mother, you know, the mother-in-law already have that mindset that this one is not my daughter. Now, another thing there is that until people understand that in marriage there is what we call negotiation, sometimes the problem is from the husband. If, for instance, if my mother is having problem with my wife, if you check very well, it's my fault. Number one is that I can, no matter what, I can never go to my mother and start discussing negative things about my wife, even if my wife had made mistakes, I don't have to go to my mother to seek advice from her. My wife can go to my mother to seek advice concerning me. But I cannot go to my mother to do the same. I can go to her own mother to seek advice concerning her. But I can't go to my mother to seek advice concerning my wife. Because of what? Because of the fact that my mom is a human being. She has emotions. Even when I had forgiven my wife for that mistake, my mother may not forgive
Exactly,
her.
and she will hold it in, like
She may still use it against
use it
her.
against the wife.
You understand? But if it's me, because I am her son, and my wife actually brought that matter, the advice she's going to advise my wife may likely be without emotions. Do you understand that? So that is it. So marriage is negotiation. I remember a woman, she has a restaurant, you know, and the restaurant was this big. You know, the husband didn't know that it was going to get big. You know, at a point, people were coming, all kinds of men, big men, and you know, coming to eat in his wife's shop. You know, and the woman wears all these. The woman, she has very good shape, so she wears tight clothes, and it shows part of her body. And sometimes when she is serving, you see somebody, you know, touching her, and the husband doesn't like it. So, and apart from touching her, the fact that the way people look at her, other men look at her, because they don't know that the woman sitting is actually her husband. You see them looking at her. You know, at a point, the husband went home. After they had gone home, the husband told her, close down the shop, no more restaurant. The woman on her own said over her dead body. But in a second thought, somebody advised her to go for counseling. Then she decided to go for counseling. It was from the counseling she was advised to negotiate. It's what we call negotiation. You don't just impose it on your partner. You don't impose your opinion because your mother told you this thing should be like this. You just come back and say, my mother said, therefore it's going to be like this. Or your father said, therefore it's going to be like this. You negotiate. I want you to stop restaurant because of the way men look at you, and because of the way you dress, and because of the fact that men touch you. Now, this is the man's problem, not the restaurant. The restaurant is not the man's problem.
It's not the man's problem. It's just
the way men look at her,
touch her, and all that.
Her. Now, what we are supposed to look at is solution to
that
particular problem, not
problem.
the restaurant. So the counseling, we're able to inform her that what you need to do now, you work on the dressing. That is, you stop wearing cropped up clothes. You work on that. And number 2 is you hire people who serve while you stay inside till closing time. If you can do that, you may even hire a manager and you come around and sit down to receive the money. By so doing, nobody will come to where you are sitting inside to touch you. By so doing, the customers will not even have opportunity to interact with you. By so doing, you don't move around for them to look at you, not to talk of touching you. Then the restaurant will still be there, and you'll still be making the money. She went back and she presented it to her husband. And that was perfect negotiation. The husband accepted, and they're continuing like that. It did not stop them from making the money that we are making. But there are people that, you know, one is that as soon as they say, stop that restaurant, close it down, they will not listen to any form of negotiations again. It's over. It's over. You know, there are also women in that case that as soon as they are told to close the restaurant, they have made up their mind that they are not going to close anything. They just say, no, I will not close. They don't negotiate. But in marriage, the Bible says that this person is your partner, this person is your helpmate. That means you are no longer alone. Whatever decision you are taking is no longer, and in as much as one person is the head, but even in an organization where they have the head doesn't take all decisions. You have to, the head may take the final decision at some point, but then you still have to negotiate. You still have to talk about it. You still have to let your partner know. You still have to listen to your partner to get your partner's view. Sometimes it could be that you're going to take a view from here, take a view from here, combine it and make a good result. So now, as a woman or a man, when you're taking decision in marriage, the both of you had to sit and talk about it. Now, coming to the in-law, the role your parents have to play in your life is the role of parents, not decision makers. Because marriage is leadership.
Yeah.
You understand? Both from the side of a woman who cannot be a leader cannot even be a wife. Because the position of a wife is leadership. There are times when your husband is not there, you have to take certain decisions. It's not every time you can reach your husband. Your husband may be a little bit far away and you try to call and you cannot even call. For instance, your child is running temperature and you are trying to call your husband on phone and your husband is not picking or the number is not reachable. Are you going to wait forever until your husband comes before you do something about the child? No. As a leader, you have to take a decision. In as much as there is somebody who is in bigger position as the head of the family, but that doesn't take away the fact that you are also a leader. And when he's not there, you can take a decision and then later on you present it to him.
Exactly.
You understand? So, and as a husband also, you are a leader. And even if you are talking with somebody who is a leader, you don't go down as a slave and take whatever the person says just like that. You can, I do not mean that you don't listen to your parents. You listen to your parents, but you don't put it to your partner that your mother said.
Your mother said that it has to be this way.
If your mother say that, if your mother say, okay, this occasion you and your wife are attending the village, two of you should wear black and black. You don't come to your wife to say, my mother said we have to put on black and black and that is final. There are ways you can say this and even your wife will grab it.
Exactly.
Honey, please, I feel we should put on black and black. What's your reason? Because I believe that even my parents will like it more if we put black and black. If she's a reasonable person, she will take
even
that.
I think to a large extent, you don't even need to bring in your parents.
No.
Because there are certain people by their own makeup. Once you tell them this person is going to like it, they'll be like, I'm not doing this for this person to like it. I am doing it because I will like it and because it will serve a purpose. It's not about that person. I'm not trying to impress that person. You know, there are people like that.
Yeah, I understand.
There are people like that. So I think I'm coming from, I want us to come from a different angle because a lot of persons are watching us, right? A different angle whereby, like I said, it is not even possible for you to go through life without having advice here and there. Like, right? People are going to advise you. People are going to talk to you. Your parents, your siblings, at some point, they will talk to you about something. But the most important thing is, when you come into the house and you want to discuss it with your spouse, like, both of you can sit down, and that idea you want to bring, you're bringing it from the angle of how it is going to benefit it, because it's about two of you, right? It's about the two of you. You are bringing it from the angle of how it's going to benefit the two of you. It's not like you're trying to massage another person's ego. Because I believe that to a large extent, one of the challenges a lot of persons could be facing is when you tell them, okay, my mother said, my dad said, or is going to, my mom is going to like it, or my dad is going to like it. They'll be like, am I living for your mom?
Yeah.
Am I living for your dad?
Why I brought the idea of mother or father going to like it, just like in the story I was telling, I said the mother, they were going to the village probably to see the parents. Okay. Not as if it's a general thing. You know, the mother had suggested if you are coming, you should wear black and black. If you tell your wife, your mother said that you guys should wear black and black, your wife may be wondering, why must it be your mother to suggest? But you are suggesting, and you are also backing up with the fact that you think your parents, they like black, and because you're going to see them, it will be nice for the two of you to also put on that black. You understand?
Yeah.
In fact, in marriage, as long as I'm concerned, as long as if you are taking any decision, as long as it will not affect your parents negatively, there is no need getting them involved.
Simple.
You understand?
Simple.
There is no need. I know that we have family values. For instance, my family value, I will not go against my family value because my wife does not like it.
I mean, values are values. Values are things that you value.
Yeah, they're family values. Many families with their
own
family
value system.
You understand? It could be that particular family value that in her family doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you're right.
You understand?
You're very. In fact, let me shock you fresh. Something that happened recently. A small girl who lives around my neighborhood. We went for a birthday party recently. Now, look at what this small girl was wearing. Small girl of maybe 7 years old or 8 years old. She was wearing a crop top that was here. Small girl, crop top that was here. And a short, obviously what we call bomb short, that is here.
Wow.
Just look at your exclamation, wow. And I looked at her, the thing no green me. Like I was like, I called her, come. Why are you dressed like this? Why did you dress like this? So her siblings were now saying that they gave her jacket to wear. And she said she's not going to wear jackets, that she's going to dress like that. I said, in fact, tell whoever that dressed you like this that Auntie Oma stays in this compound. That the next time I will see you dressed like this and I will flog you. You should learn to protect yourself. You should learn to cover up. You know? And you now find out, maybe in her own little mind, young mind, to her, it's okay to dress that way.
Sure.
Now you can imagine growing up with that mindset that you can actually expose your body anytime you want to do it, irrespective of where you are.
Yes,
you know, it will be very difficult to change that mindset. Because it is a value system, something she learned from her family, from childhood. So it will be very difficult to change that. Now imagine her meeting a mother-in-law who loves all dressed up.
Not even love. That the family, there's never been anybody, whether adult or young person, dressed like that in the past.
It becomes a problem.
You understand? Just like, for instance, my family now, for instance, I can't hug my brother's wife. I don't know if you understand. And my wife, no matter how she's excited she is in meeting any of my brothers, she can't hug them. She cannot hug a man before my parents. And I cannot hug somebody who is not I can hug my sisters, for instance, but it's just part in the back.
Part in the back.
You understand?
We're talking about 360 degrees.
Yeah, you understand? Now, let's assume that my wife, it's not a big deal, and she comes to my house and she start hugging everybody. My mother will be one side looking at her. The next interpretation is my son may have married a prostitute. But me, as a husband, I can vividly tell you that there is nothing there.
There's nothing there.
But because my mother doesn't understand it like that, because this is a family value that a woman should respect herself. You understand? So that's why I said that the only thing in marriage we'll try as much as possible to incorporate is our family values, which ordinarily may not mean anything, but just to respect the family, respect the parents, we still have to see how we can explain some of these things to our partner and expect our partner to understand. For instance, my wife cannot get a cane and start flogging my kids in my mother's presence.
Really? Why? Even if they do the wrong things?
Even if not in her presence. She can flog them right inside the room, but not maybe they are in the sitting room and she's seeing her flogging them. We don't do that. It's not done in my family. because my mother is going to tell her to stop. And she may make mistake not to stop. She will count it as a disrespect.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? No matter what the child has done.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Ha.
This is what we do. So you now discover that some of these things is what you need to explain to your partner. An understanding partner will not see it as interference, because you already explained to her that this is what is existing in the family. The next one is that, you know, like I said earlier, the way you present your partner, the way you respect your partner, the way you talk to your partner has a whole lot with how both your parent and your siblings are going to treat that your partner.
True.
When your parents, when your mother, for instance, even when you're getting married, the first gift you give to the person you're marrying is soft landing. Soft landing. There are parents that they find it difficult to love a stranger. In fact, there are mothers that whoever is going to marry their daughter, right from the moment you start introducing a girl to them, they are gradually becoming enemy to the girl. They are not happy another woman is coming. It's just in their nature. That's some sort of witchcraft.
My goodness, honestly, it is.
You understand?
It is.
You understand?
It doesn't make sense at all.
And a lot do not understand why it's like that. Because they are beginning to nurture this mindset. The money this boy used to give me, this one will come and take all of them. You know, that kind of a thing. And so, but then, it's not supposed to be like that. That's why that soft landing is very, very important. For instance, when I was dating my wife, sometimes I buy wrapper. When I'm traveling to see my mother, I buy things. I'll hand over to my mother and say, Amarachi, the girl that I'm proposing to marry, she said I should give you. They haven't seen each other. But my mother already have a picture of the person. When they met, my mother never had a chance to start looking at her mistakes, and she was focusing on those things that she had been doing for her. I tell them stories about the girl. I tell them good things about her. So meeting her was more of, for them, she's no longer a new person. It's not Amarachi we've been talking about. It's not the girl that I've been saying. Supposing that after all those things that I brought a brand new person to them, my mother may start protesting. What of the one that had bought us wrapper? What of the ones that had bought us bread? What of the one that had been talking to me on phone? You understand? But I had created a platform already for her. I gave her a soft landing in the life of my mother. That when they met, it was not a big deal. Sometimes I'm talking with my mother on phone. I give her phone so that she can greet my mom. But there are men who don't do things like that. There are men who don't categorically explain to their mother that, you see, this girl is my wife and I love her. And I love you as my mother. Please, if you love me, don't ever insult her. If she does anything that you don't like, quietly tell me. I will correct it. And you go to your wife and you tell her that the worst thing you can ever... In fact, if my mother offends you, instead of you to insult her, come and beat me. The worst thing you can ever do to me is to do what? To insult my mother. I know that I will not say that she's an angel. She has the capability of offending you. She may likely offend you, but when it happens, please come, I will correct it. You see, the man is now playing a middleman between these two people. For instance, you told me a story off the microphone where the guy had gone to
look for
Okporoko to give
the mother.
The man would have done it the right way by telling the mom, Mommy, you know that by right it's my wife that is supposed to give you this thing. Why, let's wait, let my wife give you. He has been able to pass a message.
Right, yeah.
That kitchen is hard.
It's hard.
And it's somehow for me to give you, to look like I'm overriding her.
Exactly.
Mommy, please, that woman will take correction.
Exactly.
Because some of these mother-in-laws, they behave the way they behave because they believe that their son will support them.
Not only that their son will support them, they also believe that their son's house belongs to them.
Yes. But if you make it clear that, look, that it's not like that.
That everybody needs to be respected.
Why,
everybody deserves their respect.
I've always told my mom that the reason why you are staying with us is not because you belong here. It's because you are my mother. I will need to accommodate you. But this one is actually the real owner. You understand? And she understands it very well. And this is how this thing is supposed to be. But lots of mothers won't just understand. Because they are still seeing you as that small boy they're nurtured.
They're nurtured.
And they expect you to be loyal to them. Because they're seeing your wife as a strange woman who just entered a couple of months or years ago. So how can you now be the one to decide what happens? Because they are seeing you, not who you are. They are seeing the picture of the one small boy that have been taken care of. So is it because of your wife now you won't listen to them?
Now, Fresh, what can we do? Because we are looking for solutions, right? What can we do so that people can actually start, mothers-in-law, they can start seeing, as a mom-in-law, you had your own home where you raised that boy that is getting married to that girl. I mean, I don't think anybody interfered with you so much, even though there are basically women who love control. In fact, even from their homes, they are controlling their son, they are controlling their daughters. But just like you've always said, people only control the person that wants to be controlled. Because there are other ways to get these things done. You talk about negotiations, you talk about getting these things out without necessarily offending your partner, you know. So what can husband and wife do? Because the mom-in-law, father-in-law, brothers, sisters, at some point, they will always need to talk to their brother, right? What can be done so that people will know that we are all partners in progress? You know, we are not fighting each other, you know, because it's for the sake of love. That is why they are there. Even though there are different people act differently at different times. But what can be done from the man, from the woman, from the mother-in-law, from the father-in-law?
Well, the first thing is, as married people, as couple, the number one thing you must do is to protect your marriage.
Good, yeah.
And protecting your marriage is not by fighting war. Number two is that you need to understand the space. You need to understand the space you occupy, and understand the space your in-laws occupy. Don't step into their space, and try as much as possible not to create an avenue that will make them to come into your own space. It's an abomination for your mother-in-law to come into your bedroom and say this is where she's going to pass the night. It's an abomination. That is your space. But if...
Is it even possible for... You know, there are cultures where these things are done.
Yeah, there may be cultures, but look at what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is, if for any reason you now decide to tell your mother-in-law that, mother, you're going to sleep in our bedroom today because we fumigated your room. So you sleep in our bedroom, I'll sleep in the sitting room. She may go there and decide to like the bed. Tomorrow, she may be the one telling you that that is where she wants to sleep. Oh my
goodness, that's overstepping one's boundary.
So you need to
know your space.
You understand? Don't start what you cannot
finish.
You cannot tell your mother-in-law to go and cook today. Tomorrow you are telling her that your kitchen is no good area for anybody. She just cooked yesterday there. If you know you can't continue with it, don't start.
Let me share something with you. There was this cousin of mine who got married to a very beautiful lady. So one of the days, my mom was about to join them in the car. Do you know this girl? She said that my mom should go and sit in front of the car, let her sit at the back. My mom was like, what do you mean? What's that supposed to mean? Go to the front, Joe. What's that? What do you mean? And she said, my mom came back and my mom was telling me. I told my mom, you did the right thing. So tomorrow now, because she just came in, they just married her newly. So tomorrow now, when she would have felt that she has now, she's in charge. and you now want to go to the front of the car, will she have the mouth to tell you to come down from the front of the car and go to the back? My mom said, that is what, my mom told me, that is how you young people behave. You want to start something you cannot finish. She was like, what do you mean? I beg, go to the front, Joe. And she still did the same thing with me. One of the days, we were about going out. And she said, hey, Chichi, go to... So, what do you mean? Go to which front? If I go to front, you start at the back. As what? Is this person my husband? This person is not my husband. He's your husband. Go to the front. Walk him. Go and sit in the front. We all started laughing, you know. And it aligns with what you just said now. Don't start what you cannot finish.
Let me tell you something. There are things you do. It's not recorded as love. It's foolishness.
Exactly.
You understand? Love doesn't bring trouble. Love does not create room for rancor and issues. So for that, don't love people to an extent of creating problem because you love them. You understand? Just like what she did, she's doing it because she feels it's love or it's respect or it's
whatever she felt it was. It wasn't good enough.
No, it's not.
It wasn't good enough.
So
it's just like leaving your territory for another person.
You have a space. There is the space your mother-in-law or your mother occupies. It's not the same. You can't occupy that space. Because this is mother. For instance, what we owe our parents is to provide for them as much as you can. What we owe them is to protect them as much as we can. We will not allow rain to beat them. We will not allow them to go hungry. That is what we need. If my mother is going to come to my house, I'll have to discuss it with my wife.
Yeah, I just remembered something. Maybe next time on the program we're going to talk about it. This idea of an in-law visiting. When they want to visit, they will not tell the wife they are visiting. They will now tell the husband that they are visiting. It will now be the husband that will now tell the wife that this person is coming. You know, we're just going to look at it because I've seen a place where it became a problem. The brother was visiting with his family. His family means his wife and the kids. He told the brother that he's coming. Now, the wife of the brother did not tell the wife, oh, we are coming to your house, so kept quiet on her.
Until they came.
They didn't even come because the wife stopped them from coming. So maybe next time on the program, we're going to look at it and see, because, you know, a lot of things are being taken for granted. A situation where you're visiting someone's house, you're not even going to tell the person that you're coming. You're not even going to tell the wife. You don't have the courtesy to tell the wife, okay, we are coming to your house. So even after telling the husband that you're coming, you know, maybe next time on the program, we're going to look at it. So as we round up on today's show, what can be done differently? What advice do we have for the man, for the woman, for the mother-in-law, for the father-in-law, in order to make things work together?
Yes, first and foremost, what I'm going to say, like I said earlier, that negotiation is very, very important. When you think this person is not doing the right thing, the right person to talk to is your partner. If my mother is not doing the right thing, my wife has complained, the right person to talk to is me, not my mother. You know, because it will be a shameful thing for me to come back and then see or hear that my mother and my wife fought while I was aware. It shouldn't even come to that. It's difficult to handle.
It shouldn't even come to that level.
It's difficult to handle, you know. So what's the right thing to do? If there is an issue, waive it and talk to your partner. That is number one. Then another thing there is that as a woman, make it a point of duty to respect your husband. And one of the ways to respect your husband is to respect the parents. Even when the parents are misbehaving, if somebody is going to pay back, let your husband do the payback. If somebody is going to handle them, let your husband handle them. Vice versa, because there are some women, their parents are actually the trouble in homes. Instead of fighting them, let the one that is biological child to that person take charge. Number two is always present your partner before your parents as gold that you don't want to lose. If you take your partner for granted, be sure that even your younger ones, they are definitely going to take your partner for granted. It's just certain and it's just there. And then finally, I also think that married people should start thinking of having very serious communication. You don't nurture things. You don't carry things. You don't listen to people out there and pack them in your head waiting for trouble. Talk to your partner. If you hear that your mother-in-law is troublesome, discuss with your husband. Are you sure that if your mother comes here, that there will be peace? Can you tell me a little bit about your mother? This is what this other woman would have done. And then hear from the husband. The next is mindset. Let us see our mother-in-laws, our father-in-laws, let's see them as our own parents. That even if they misbehave, even if they do things, because they are our parents, we will not throw them away. We'll still find a way to cope with them without fighting with them. If we do all this, I think definitely there is going to be peace. And let's try as much as possible to be friendly with them. Though some are very, very difficult to please. But all the same, we need to put all our effort to see if we can get a good result at the end of the day.
I think you've actually said it all. I just love those pictures flashing on the screen. Yeah. I think you've actually said it all. You know, present your partner as gold that you cannot do without.
Yes.
It's very important when you're able to do that to your family. Believe you me, you just see that everything will work together, because marriage is about its progress, its partnership. Fresh, it was really an amazing moment having this discussion with you. I learned so much, and we know you learned as well. So keep your marriage. Make sure that your marriage works for you. And mothers, fathers, please help your children to have a beautiful home. My name is Oma. You're very sweet on radio, TV, and social media. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We hope to see you again next week. Please have a wonderful night, and please remember that in everything you still need to pray. You still need to keep talking to God about your marriage. He will always organize your marriage for you. Thank you and have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.